The world was ending, and no one could do anything about it. War, disease, famine, everything that could go wrong had gone wrong. Nations fell, cities burned, and humanity dwindled with each passing day. Amidst the chaos and destruction, a young girl named Emily found herself wandering the ruins of what was once a bustling metropolis. She was alone, her family having succumbed to the horrors that had swept across the globe. Emily had learned to survive on her own, scavenging for food and shelter in the desolate wasteland. She was resourceful, having grown up in a world that demanded nothing less. But the loneliness was unbearable, and she often found herself talking to the ghosts of her past, the memories of loved ones long gone. One day, as she was exploring the skeletal remains of an abandoned apartment building, she stumbled upon an old, dusty camera. It was a relic from a time when people still had the luxury of capturing memories, a time when life was worth remembering. Emily wiped the dust off the camera and inspected it. Remarkably, it still worked. She turned it on and scrolled through the last few pictures taken by its previous owner. They were snapshots of a happy family, now likely all dead. The images were a stark reminder of what she had lost and what the world had become. For some reason, Emily decided to keep the camera. It was a small comfort, a connection to a world that no longer existed. She carried it with her as she continued her solitary journey through the ruins of civilization. Days turned into weeks, and Emily wandered further from the city, seeking solace in the barren wilderness. She hoped to find something, anything, that would give her a reason to keep going. But all she found was emptiness. The forests were silent, the rivers dry, and the once vibrant landscapes now resembled a scene from a nightmare. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a blood-red glow across the sky, Emily found herself atop a hill overlooking the wasteland. She sat down, the camera in her lap, and stared at the desolate beauty before her. The world was ending, and she was its last witness. The weight of this realization settled on her shoulders like a shroud, and for the first time in a long while, she cried. When the tears finally stopped, Emily picked up the camera and held it out in front of her. She stared into the lens, her reflection staring back at her. She thought about all the people who had once lived, loved, and laughed, and how they were all gone now. She was the last, and the loneliness was suffocating. With a deep breath, she pressed the shutter button. The camera clicked, capturing her image against the backdrop of the dying world. It was a simple act, but it felt monumental. She had taken the last picture of a human being, a final testament to the existence of a species that had once ruled the planet. As the sun disappeared completely, plunging the world into darkness, Emily felt a strange sense of peace. She had done something that would outlast her, a small piece of history that might one day be discovered by whatever came after humanity. She lay down on the hill, the camera clutched to her chest, and closed her eyes. The night was silent, the stars twinkling above like distant memories. Emily drifted off to sleep, dreaming of a world where people still lived and loved, where the future was something to look forward to. She didn't wake up. The last human being had taken her final breath, and with her, the last light of humanity was extinguished. Years passed, and nature began to reclaim the earth. The ruins of cities were overgrown with vegetation, and the scars of war and disease were slowly erased by time. The camera, still clutched in Emily's skeletal hands, remained on the hill, a silent witness to the end of an era. One day, in the distant future, a group of explorers, beings vastly different from humans, stumbled upon the hill. They were curious and intelligent, driven by a desire to understand the world that had come before them. They discovered Emily's remains and the camera she held. With great care, they took the camera back to their settlement and studied it. After much effort, they managed to retrieve the last image captured by the ancient device. They stared in awe at the picture of a young girl, her eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and hope, standing against the backdrop of a world that had long since faded into memory. The image was a revelation, a glimpse into a time and a species that had vanished. The explorers marveled at the resilience and spirit of the girl in the photograph, and they honored her memory. They built a monument in her likeness, a tribute to the last human and the world that once was. The story of Emily, the last human, was passed down through generations of the new beings. She became a symbol of endurance and hope, a reminder that even in the face of extinction, the human spirit had shone brightly until the very end. And so, the legacy of humanity lived on, not in the form of cities or technology, but in the heart of a young girl who had captured the last moment of human existence with a simple click of a camera. The last picture became a beacon of hope for the new world, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a species that had once called Earth home.